Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Mr. Daniel Yu, global strategist at Yuanta Securities. Mr. Yu, thank you for making time today.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, stocks in New York, big sell-off overnight. The Dow falling by the most among the three main indices, down by more than 2.25%. Only a week to go until Election Day, and new stimulus is not looking like it's going to happen. What's the story in the global markets?
Yes, Dow Jones plunged about 2.3%. S&P 500 also went down by 1.9%, and NASDAQ went down less by 1.6%. All in all, this is due to because of the uncertainty regarding the COVID-19. And if you look at the level of the additional new patient, on Friday, it reached 83,000 plus in one day. And then over the weekend, the highest number came through of 85,000 plus. And this is the record number, and obviously the second wave of pandemic is actually happening, and everybody's concerned that the K-shaped recovery would continue in the future unless there comes some kind of relief measures. And it seems that until the November 3rd, the ruling parties are the ruling party and opposition party are not deciding yet in terms of going through this relief package, anywhere between 1.8 to 2.2 trillion, 2.2 trillion US dollars in terms of the fiscal additional boosting measures. If it passes, then I think that the economy will recover and that the equity market can rise. But for the time being, people are quite uncertain because of the elections are not finished yet. However, though, if you look at the overall earnings number, it seems to be good that the 80% plus of the companies that reported earnings are showing better than expected numbers. Yes, it is down from YOY number, but nevertheless, it is improving from Q&Q numbers, and that should have some supporting measures for the equity market in the short term. So we think that it's going to be quite timid equity market trend in the future for next 1 week or so until the election actual results comes through.
Well, now here in Korea, the KOSPI was a bit lower today, but interestingly, the KOSDAQ closed higher. Perhaps yesterday's sell-off was a bit too much. What happened in the local market?
Yes, as you said, KOSPI rebounded. KOSPI went down by another 0.5% plus after falling 0.7% yesterday. But as far as KOSDAQ is concerned, because it went down so much, over 3% plus yesterday, today it has risen somewhat. However, though, the uncertainty regarding the 300 million the tax-related capital gains tax, the limit as the large shareholders is 100 million. Now it can go down to 1 billion. It can go down to 300 million. If that's the case, then there could be quite additional selling coming through from the local retail investors. Obviously, the foreign investors as well as institutional investors are not selling because they don't really pull this kind of regulations. And the fundamentals seems to be quite reasonably good for Korean companies, where the earnings are down, but nevertheless, it is improving from Q&Q numbers. So being said, right now, market is moving in a basis on the regulatory environment rather than actual fundamental environment. So I think that the U.S. election is the most important thing as well. So election needs to be passed, and also this regulation needs to be settled. Then we think that the Korean equity market can rise in the future.
Well, today's big story, the Korean economy growing in the third quarter by 1.9% from the quarter before, but still, of course, a contraction from a year earlier. What do you make of these figures?
Yes, this is the same as what's happening to the earnings growth for Korean companies. If you look at the GDP numbers, it rebounded 1.9% quarter on quarter. So clearly it is improvement. Of course, it is down year-on-year numbers by about 1.3%, but nevertheless, once again, it is rising from the previous quarter. And so the COVID-19 is having implications, but it is improving from that concern. And also this number is coming better than expected because market was expecting 1.7% increase quarter on quarter, but it is actually coming at 1.9%. Clearly, these numbers are coming better because of the manufacturing sector that is shown about 7.6% rise after quite significant decline in the previous quarter. And clearly, Korea being one of the high IT-related country, and also if you look at the auto sector, it is doing also better. So all in all, the global competitiveness in terms of the manufacturing sector remains to be very high, and therefore Korea seems to be quite reasonably good at this point in time. So as once again, the economy numbers needs to be improved further, but we think that the YOI number will also turn positive sometime in the first quarter next year. If that's the case, 2021 equity market should be a quite good year.
All right, Mr. Yu, thank you for your insights today. As always, we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.